Now I no longer have a wardrobe rail. It's actually quite tricky to film a wardrobe tour and a wardrobe declutter, but that's what we're going to do nonetheless. And the reason I decided to declutter my rail is I'm now going through a phase of my minimalist journey where I would like to not have to look at the few items remaining in this process of getting rid of everything I own. If you're new here, this has been sort of a little series over the past few weeks where, even though I was already extremely minimal, I've been attempting to get rid of that last bit of stuff that I own. And because my partner and I live in a very, very small apartment, we decided we wanted to both get rid of more so that we weren't forced to look at all the belongings that we own, which is quite tricky given that there is no storage whatsoever. So what we do with the little bit that we have left is attempt to sort of conceal them in a tub like this so that we don't have to look at it. Now obviously that involves a lot of decluttering in order to be able to fit it into those things. Now I'm not sure if any of you saw my recent YouTube short, but I managed to do that for that tub that you can see lurking in the background. Basically anything that is not clothing related now as part of my personal possessions fits in the small tub on the shelf. And I'm attempting now to even fully think about the last bit of clothing that I have. Now, for around a year, my clothing items have only been about 35 items in a wardrobe, and that's not a capsule, that's for everything. But I became very aware recently that even though I have this very small wardrobe, there are still things that I don't use. And because I will be aiming to pack to go away traveling, I just want my pack to be as light as possible. So I definitely don't want wasted space, and I don't want there to be anything that I don't use. So today we're actually going to do that process together. And although I just have my clothing out behind me, we are actually going to go through everything. We're going to go through everything that wardrobe entails: shoes, jackets, accessories, because I may, for the first time ever, decide to declutter a few of those items and give reasons why. Now, I have a rough plan of what I'd like to do, and a rough guide is that I would like to have just 3 of everything. That currently seems like a good idea for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this out here a little bit better so that you guys can see, and we're going to sort them. Let's go. Extreme minimalism being what it is, I do have a few items in the wash at the point that I think that's relevant and I want to show you all. I'll go get it and we'll just show it anyway, regardless of whether it's wet, dirty or dry. Also, really quickly before I get along with this wardrobe tour, if you stay tuned to the end, what I'm also going to show at the end of this video is a few things that I've even changed from 2 weeks ago when I showed the decluttering of the bedroom, the living room, the hallway. I have even decluttered a couple of things since then, so we will also update you on those and show you at the end of this video. But back to the wardrobe. I like linen shirts. I personally, for my lifestyle, find them very versatile. They can be dressed up, they can be dressed down, they can be layered, and because I do come from a cold climate, which is so amusing to me that a lot of people think that I just come from a warm climate because of my wardrobe, but that's why layering as an extreme minimalist is so important, because it's possible for me to have a vest, a t-shirt, a fleece, or a hoodie or a linen shirt over the top of all those layers and actually be quite warm. So I actually have 3 what I would call coloured versions of that. I have like a striped one, and that is probably my most colourful item in my wardrobe, a blue one and a grey. So 3 of those, and this isn't in any particular order, but I will show you a list at the end of, oh, I've lost the other clothing, things have fallen down. I will show you a list at the end of the rough guide that I like to go by for my wardrobe. Now, I've thought long and hard about this next thing. I had, I think, 7 dresses till recently. It went down to 6, then it went to 5, and I've thought long and hard about this dress, and I realised that I've probably only reached for it once in about a year since owning it. Now that is because we don't get the opportunity very often in England. So then I had to start thinking about why I don't reach for it. And cause not only do we live in England, but even when I go away on holiday, it's black and therefore it is warm, but it's also got sleeves. For instance, I don't mind something being black if it is either linen or it is sleeveless, but this has sleeves. It's also very thick material. So I decided that I think that's why I'm not using it. It's sort of not appropriate for either climate, either a hot country or the UK or colder. So I'm going to declutter that. So we will start, where shall we start a declutter pile? Maybe just in the front there. Can you still see that? Let me get my feet out of the way. Declutter, and then what I'm actually keeping. So we'll just go to the dresses for now because we're on the theme of dresses. This little sage green dress, it's a linen cotton blend. Lovely, I love it. It's perfect for every climate. Even as somebody who lives in the UK predominantly, I like to have something that will still give me an option to dress up even for special occasions in the UK. So even though I don't wear this on a day-to-day, week-to-week or even month-to-month basis, it does still get quite a bit of use, and I think for my personal minimalist lifestyle, I like to keep at least 3 options for dressing up when I want to. So we keep in the dress. Let's put it on top of there. Now this next one, again, I have thought long and hard about it. Linen cotton blend, it does look lovely. However, it's very similar to the next dress that I'm going to show you. And the one thing that I don't actually like about it is, although it is elasticated in the waist, it doesn't have a belt. And therefore, I keep a belt as part of my accessories, really just for wearing this dress. How often this dress gets worn, I don't think that it is worth it. So I'm thinking about decluttering this dress. This is a maybe, the black is a definite, but we'll put them all together for now. I think you can just see there. Let's put that there. Now this next dress, I do really like it. I'm going to keep this one. Again, cotton linen blend. And it has a little belt built in with it, which I do like. And it does mean that I could use this belt on the other dress if I wanted, but I think those colours kind of clash. But what I could use this belt for is for these trousers, which I actually love, which are paper bag waist. I could use it on there if I ever wanted to show off the paper bag waist and have my top tucked in. So I'm keeping this one. So we now have 3 linen shirts and 3 dresses. No, we don't. We're on the 3rd dress now. I've lost count. This is the 3rd dress that I plan to keep. This little flouncy, again green dress. Now the next thing is a category that I like to call the loose black top category, because this is like the only area of the wardrobe that perhaps is a little bit jumbled, but they just allow me to have that extra little choice. So this is a kind of chiffon material, which is really good for if you are packing incredibly tightly and you don't want a lot of creases, because it just, no matter what you do to it, it just does not crease at all, and it's sort of a bit dressy but with no sleeves, which is a good option to have. Now let's just dig out the other black loose tops. So I have a black linen blouse, again good for layering, and then this is a relatively new one, which is why I thought it was time to do an update of my wardrobe as well, because there's been quite a few things swapping and changing out recently that I just realised that I haven't updated on for a while. And even since I did the Everything I Own packing video, where you sort of get to see the majority of what I own, these are sort of new in for the summer because I've decluttered quite a couple of other things that I'd worn out. So I have this black loose vest top. It's quite versatile because you can tie it up, wear it differently, and I can use this to sort of lounge around in or work out in. It's sort of like my workout vest, but again you could wear it for other things if you wanted. So we have 3 of the black loose top category. Now the next thing. Now these are the ones that you see most often in my videos because they just are the most used items in my wardrobe. And it's funny because the more we're forced to think about, you know, what we truly wear when we're trying to downsize what we wear, I know that for most of my day-to-day life, I literally wear these 3 t-shirts the most. They're the most worn item in my wardrobe. So I definitely go through t-shirts more than anything else. They're my go-to thing that I pick every day, and I suppose that's because that's the kind of climate we have in the UK. It's sort of a t-shirt in the house, and if I go out, a fleece. That's what I really stick to. So 3 t-shirts. Now the next category is, on a slightly chillier day in the UK, I will have to layer that t-shirt with a vest. So until recently, I did just have a black and a beige, but as we moved from, you know, winter to spring and now slowly going into summer, and I did get rid of a long sleeved green top because it had worn out, I've got a new green vest. So we have 3 of them. Now the next category, and I don't think I can show you this third thing because I think I decided to wash it. For quite a while I've had a black, a green and a brown sports bra. I keep thinking I'm going to declutter the sports bra, then not decluttering it and reaching for it, and then I question why I keep doing this. And I think it's because it shows that I clearly have a use and a want for a third sports bra, but what I actually don't like about the brown one is these actually are cotton, but the brown one has some recycled polyester in it. And it being so close to my skin, i.e. very sensitive skin, seems to irritate my skin a little bit. So I think what it is I'm wanting to declutter that particular one, but not necessarily a third sports bra. Now that is currently in the wash, I can't show you, but for all better purposes, I have 3 sports bras. What is very good about sports bras is if you get this type of sports bra that is quite long, you can even double up as an extra top if you wanted, especially if you have sort of high-waisted like myself. It almost comes to the upper limit of where we have a high-waisted trouser. So it is really like giving yourself the option of 3 extra tops. Just another little multifunctional trick there for a very small wardrobe. Now, something that I don't show very often because I like to keep some things sacred here in, you know, on an extreme minimalist channel on the internet. I have a set of 3 lingerie, i.e. matching bra and pants that are purchased as a set. 3 of them. And I have 3 pairs of socks. Until recently, I did used to keep a pair of big woolen ones for the winter. They've just got a hole in them. So currently I only have 3 of them. Interestingly, because of the footwear that I have, I don't technically need any socks, as we will show momentarily, but I just sort of do like to have socks as an option. So I have 3 pairs of shorts. Now for quite a while I only had 2. I decided that wearing shorts is something I would like to do more often, so we have 3 of them. And the linen trousers, these are probably my favourite item in my wardrobe just because they're so versatile. I wear these as pyjamas, I dress them up and wear them as smart. They're just great, and for a while I did have 3. My green ones actually wore out, my blue ones wore out, and I've only been left with these. Now there's a possibility that in the future I may actually get another pair of these, but what I'm going to do for a while so I don't buy unintentionally and not think about it is I'm trialling a process currently. So at the moment I have 3 pairs of trousers, but they're all from different categories. I have these green jeans, these black linen trousers and a pair of green leggings. I think you saw my leggings in the last video. Again, currently in the wash. Extreme minimalist side issue, which I don't mind because I'd rather have less stuff. So I have 3 trousers, but I'm just currently deciding if I were to have a 4th pair, whether I would prefer that to be a 2nd pair of leggings, a 2nd pair of jeans or a 2nd pair of linen. Now, I do have a pink pair of chinos, but they are going to get decluttered today. Let me go find them whilst I discuss why I'm decluttering them. So, despite saying I might need a fourth pair of trousers, these aren't it. I've watched and practiced how I wear my clothes and paid real close attention to it, and these very seldom get worn, and I think that it is because of the thickness of the fabric. They're just never right weather to wear them. If it's hot, they're too thick. If it's cold, they're too thin. So I'll end up reaching for the jeans or the linen. So I'm realising now that chinos perhaps aren't the right option for me unless they did a lot thinner fabric, and then it would be okay. But this pair it isn't working, and at least there is a fault with these, I might add, at the point that I'm decluttering them. The zip, whenever you wear them, probably some of you have spotted this in a few of my videos, the zip actually comes down for no reason at all. I think it's if you bend over at all, the zip comes down. So these, once they have been washed, are getting decluttered. So currently, decluttering. There are a few things that I don't have out that I'm going to get out, and we're gonna show them so you can see everything and see what I'm decluttering. So, 1 second. I'm back. We're going into sort of coat, jacket, scarf area. Now, in terms of my actual wardrobe, I used to have, I think I mentioned, about 35 items. I think it's now nearing more like 25 items. That's just for the actual clothing items, not like jackets, bags, underwear. Now, let's go into jumper categories. So, until recently, I'm sure some of you remember me getting a cardigan. I decided after wearing that a few times, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the long length. It meant that I couldn't wear my certain jackets as a layer because my jackets that I'll have, as you're about to see in a minute, are quite short. So it wasn't useful. I've gifted that away. So what I did decide, actually, I liked and that was multifunctional. I like having a hoodie, but usually just for the house. Now, I have discussed hoodies quite a lot on my channel and said that I don't like in general as a top layer. I don't like wearing them out of the house. In the UK, there is a stigma attached to them. They're considered a bit scruffy, particularly for females, as unfair as that might be. But what I've discovered is that if I just wear them as a layer under something else, luckily because these are oversized hoodies, the hood actually goes very flat quite easily against my shoulder blades, and you can't actually see it, so I can use it as a layer without fully sort of wearing it out as a top, surface thing that people are going to see. And then oppositionally to that, in the house, I actually love just wearing my hoodies to hang around in. So they're sort of multifunctional for me now because they're a layer that's short but that is also a lounging pyjama type item, and these ones are quite fitting for me. So we have 3 what I'm calling warmer layers. So with this and with them two, that is my 3 warmer layers. Now, some of you can probably remember that I do have a pink one of these. I realised, despite actually really liking pink, thinking it suits me, I realised that I reach for this one the least. And I think it might be because I feel like it goes with less of my clothes. And this isn't very multifunctional, unlike what I've discussed with the hoodies. I'm decluttering that. Current declutter. The next thing, which as somebody who does analyse my things, like I've said, to check that they are useful and not unnecessary, I absolutely love scarves. I use them as a flexible, multifunctional item again. So I have 3. These scarves are lovely linen and they are reversible, which makes them very good to just sort of really add a little bit of interest to what otherwise to some people might be quite a boring plain outfit. They really can add interest. and you can use them for so many things. These are actually so big and wide that you can use them as like a poncho. I've done this in quite a few videos. If it's raining, you can almost use it as like a little umbrella. And it's that wide that you could even use it, although I think they're a bit too nice for this, as a sort of towel if you wanted, or at least to just lay on the beach. You could use it as a sarong. It's got so many uses. I love them. So to me, these are also sort of in place of, have I messed all my hair up doing that? These are sort of in place of having sort of a cardigan. I have had 3 of these until recently, but what I actually decided was, unlike the other 2, because this is my other one, which if you all haven't noticed, they are all the colours that I have in my wardrobe as well. I tend to sort of stick to green, beige, earthy tones, black, and a little bit of blue. The other one isn't the same material, it's a black wool, and it's annoying for me. It gets bits sticking to it all the time. After a lot of thought, I'm actually only keeping 2 scarves, and this black scarf is going. What also helped this decision for me, hairs sticking to the scarf, sticking to me, is that I have decided to also declutter this. Let me go get it. So this is just a classic example that you can't always trust branding. Some branding doesn't technically mean that it is good quality. It's a case-by-case basis. I think we have to sometimes touch and feel things and really look at the quality. This hat, it is only, I think it's 1 year old, but it has just got so many bobbles all over it. Now I know I could sit and de-bobble this or whatever I think other people call it pilling, but here in the north of England we call it bobbling. I don't know if that's a phenomenon just to this area, but that's what we also call it, because it almost like looks like little bubbles, I'd like to say, but we call it bobbling. Anyway, this, I am going to think about it for a little while, but definitely because we're moving into summer, I'm probably not going to use it. And I thought even moving into winter, I might go with a different option, which we will see at that point, but I don't want it. So while we're getting onto this category now of accessories, because I've already mentioned the belt and only keeping it for the rust dress, I am going to declutter this belt, obviously in a sustainable way. But what I actually decided I don't like about this belt is the buckle is just so big that it's actually quite annoying. Now, I'm not saying that I might not have a belt in the future. Maybe I will if for some reason I got another item of clothing that I felt looked better with a belt. Because I have discussed that as a minimalist, I think a belt is a nice option to sort of dress an outfit up a little bit. But this one is actually annoying. The buckle is just so big. I'm decluttering it. I might give it to my mum. What are we on to next? Bags. I'm not decluttering anything from the bags, but I will show you them. Now, many of you have seen my Patagonia backpack. For anybody who hasn't, I'll insert a clip here. With that and with these, they are my 3 bags. It works for me. 3 little bags with the Patagonia bag. Jackets. I've had this one for the longest time. I always say this, but I can't see me ever getting rid of this one. I just love it. It's great. Now, this one is a relatively new one, which I decided was also a good replacement for the cardigan that I got rid of, because it's made out of a sort of thick canvas cotton, so it is actually warm enough to be a bit of a cover up. And I'm calling it a shacket because it looks like a shirt. And I do think pink suits me, but it's got elements of the beige and the creaming and stuff as well. But it folds up a lot easier and it layers easier because it's not as long as the cardigan. I'm also very interested in how easily they all roll up to be able to pack. Now the next one, it still hasn't had any use, and that is because until recently, and I love to be open with you all here, I had decluttered all my other coats except one, which was a cord jacket. And I kept leaving it by the door to remind myself to take it to the charity shop. But because it was by the door, because in our home we don't have anywhere to put things, because it was by the door, I kept reaching for it. And this is an instance of when sometimes reaching for something doesn't necessarily prove that you want to keep it. Sometimes it's just to do with accessibility. So what I actually did to stop myself using it so that I would wear my new favourite jacket, this Patagonia one, is one day I just said, right, do you know what, I'm so sick of wearing this jacket. I was out having a coffee with my partner and I said, I'm just sick of wearing it. I'm sick of wearing this jacket. And he said, just give it away now, just give it away. Here is a clip of me doing exactly that. It was the only way I was going to stop myself wearing it, and it still had a little bit of wear in it, but I realised that moving forward it wasn't going to be right for me. It's definitely too big and bulky to pack. I wouldn't need it in warmer climates, but I needed something that was more versatile, like this jacket. So this jacket I decided was much more versatile because it's slimmer, the fabric, but it is Gore-Tex lined and warm if I want it to be, but not that bulky for when I actually want to roll it up and be able to pack it. So I had to actually finally give the cord one away to stop myself wearing it, so that I wear my favourites. And that's an interesting thing that even I have to constantly remind myself to do, that when an item has been, you know, a little bit on the expensive side, or as we say in this area, I don't know if it's a global thing, but a little bit spenny, i.e. you've spent quite a lot of money on it. Sometimes you're reluctant to wear it for your everyday to day life, especially if you walk dogs and things. You know, you want to keep it clean and in good condition, but one of the luxuries of being a minimalist is that we get to wear our favourites every day. So I had to make myself get rid of that so that I will be reminded to wear my favourites every day. And then we use it completely until it is worn out. So, and obviously Patagonia are all made from recycled sustainable materials, so I want to wear it. So that's 3 for the coats and jackets. Now what have I missed out? I've still not included shoes. So let's get the shoes, discuss the shoes, and let me think if there is anything else that I've forgotten, and then we'll also show you the other areas in the house that have changed. As somebody that lives in a 4-season climate, shoes are one of the trickiest areas to downsize. Now, in quite a few videos I've said that I would like to get down to 2 footwear items. However, after a lot of consideration, I think that 3, perhaps especially as a female, is a little bit more realistic. And I'm just thinking about that, but actually maybe it's 3 for males as well, because I think in general, these are my own personal thoughts, for my lifestyle, I need something that is good for every day to day, perhaps going to the gym, perhaps running and walking. I need a sort of a sandal that would also be okay for the beach and for getting wet. But then I occasionally might need something a little bit dressier, i.e. to wear with my dresses and to dress them up. So let's take a look at that. So recently I decided that my Doc Martin sandals were just not comfortable. Some of you will remember them. They had quite a big heel. Despite trying to wear them in the house, they just weren't comfortable, and it's because they were too big for me. I have real problem feet. I'm like a 2.5 UK. They were a 3. I had to admit defeat and admit that they just weren't comfortable. So recently I sort of swapped them out for a pair of Birkenstocks. They're great. These can be dressed up and dressed down. They are the vegan version, and I think they've got some kind of coating that makes it that you can get them a little bit wetter than the actual leather ones. So that's what I've got, and I can use them as slippers as well. They're a great multifunctional item. Now the next thing I have are these Vivo Barefoot trail shoes. These are good for walking, they're good for running, they're good for everyday streetwear. Now, currently they haven't been getting much use, and that's sort of because I've got another problem going on. I've got these trainers and I'm reluctant to declutter these while ever they've got use because I don't want them to be wasted. So currently I've been using these for running, walking my friend's dog, and maybe it is good to have a rough pair for now. Now at the point that we go away travelling, I'll be decluttering them because really I don't need them if I've got these. So they will be being decluttered. So you may see them in a couple of videos, I don't know, from time to time, but we'll put them in the declutter pile for now because they're something that I do intend to declutter in the future. This is my little sort of zero drop Greek, or should we say gladiator sandal, but I did get them in Greece and I got them made to perfectly fit the shape of my foot because I have a wide toe box, which does make sandals and shoes very difficult. And what I realise is these are actually quite nice for being a tiny bit dressier than them, and they do really go with the fact that I have a lot of green clothing items. Now the fifth thing is these Ugg boots. Now I actually love the fact that these are so comfortable, and I think these can be capable of being a slipper as well, and they're so easy to slip on, but I don't really need them as slippers if I've got these. I definitely wouldn't need them in a warm climate. I don't want to waste them because, you know, Ugg boots can last a very, very long time. So I do intend to just keep these while ever they've got use in them. I mean, that could even be up to 5 years. So while ever we are travelling, it may be that on airport days, because these are so big and bulky, that I have to actually wear these to fly in so that I can easily pack the other things. But eventually, and this may be quite a while in the future, I do intend to declutter these so that I will be left with just can I show you? These 3 pairs of shoes, because my aim, like I said at the beginning of this video, is to have just 3 of everything. Now let me check my notes, because I had a rough structure of what I wanted to do. Let me check them and see that I have mentioned everything I wanted to mention. So that is actually everything that is clothing, accessory related. Now some of you may wonder, what about jewellery or anything like that? Now I do intend to do another video at some point showing you all what is in my personal possessions box that are not clothing related, although some of you can probably work that out by the process of elimination of what's not here and then what's on the everything I own packing video. But I realised I don't ever do things like open up my little jewellery box, my little sentimental items box. I'm going to do that on a future video because I will fully show everything that's in that box, because I have recently decluttered quite a bit of jewellery and now it is just in a tiny little wooden box that's only about 1 inch across, and I just have 3 pairs of earrings and a necklace. That's it. Anyway, I'm going to quickly tidy this stuff away and show you a couple of room tours briefly of what's gone. I nearly forgot to show you the final result of what I'm decluttering today. I'm decluttering all that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items. Since the getting rid of everything in the hallway video showing the RIP declutter method, I have decided to not put the bowl back. Currently it's in a different location, even though I haven't decluttered it, it's not here. And we have kept this part as a hat stand and actually decluttered the other hat stands, and now I don't even have a hat. I definitely don't need a hat stand there. And this is our little key area. I like having somewhere just to be able to put the keys quickly and not have to go in anything else. They look weird on there, but they are actually level. And now my partner just keeps all these little bits in that top drawer, like his tobacco, change. That's his little drawer for all his little trinkets. So we don't sort of need anything out on view or in view over here. Now let's go into the living room. So this is currently our living room. We have changed a couple of things around. We now have the side table from the bedroom behind there, and we just pull it out when we may need a little bit of something to rest on in here. We replaced the other mirror, the pond mirror that was a bit more expensive, for a very cheaper £20 version off Facebook Marketplace, because we like to have a mirror to increase the illusion of space and light in this very small room, which is only about 4 meters by 3 meters. We've obviously kept one plant. We have our linen curtains. We have them this long so that they block drafts, and also for privacy, and also because we have a projector, so we need them to be double layered also to take the light out, so to make the projector better quality, because even though we can use it in daylight, it's definitely a little bit better if you do block out some of the light. And my partner did actually request to keep this little stool because he does just like it. So we are keeping that. And the great news is that since we have decided to declutter the table, which I'll show you where it is currently because we're in the process of selling it, which is why we've also started this decluttering so soon, because it can take a long time in this area to sell items of quite high value. You know, it could take a few months to sell it, but we recently discovered, let me show you all, for those of you who didn't see my story, we recently discovered that the glass had been magnifying and burning the carpet. So it definitely can't even stay in here until it sells, because we've actually started to get warmer weather now in the UK, and that would have been a problem. But the good news is that means I can go back to using my hammock in the window that I absolutely love. Let me show you all. Some of you will remember this hammock from the early days, and I do absolutely love it, but because I've not been using it as much recently, I forgot how much I truly love using it. Obviously, when it's not in constant use, I fold it up and it can just go behind the sofa there, so it doesn't look like that generally, but it is just so lovely to sit in the hammock. Let me show you my view that I often get. I can watch all the dogs in the hotel rooms because it's a doggy friendly hotel, or I can look down to the lovely trees down there, and that is my view. Well guys, you're probably now all wondering about the bedroom, and yes, the bedroom is an area that is under construction, so this is not the end result, but I'm sure you can all imagine what it's going to be like. So as we come in, my clothes, as you've just seen, my partner's clothes, all my other possessions, personal items, tech, personal care, tech, paperwork, everything that I own that is not clothing related is in there. Now, just because on a day-to-day basis it's easier to be able to grab my hair stuff, I've currently been putting my hair things in there, even though that actually does fit in there. Sometimes it's a balance for me learning about accessibility and not having to go through other things to get to other things, and also it looking peaceful and quiet. I have my laptop on the stand so that when I want, I can pull it out, put it on the top, and it be like a standing desk over there, because we won't always have the other desk as I'm in the process of decluttering it. And these are really now just here while I decide what to do with them, as I may be decluttering them. And I've since put my lamp, amethyst candle and lavender all together, because over here is a big change. I've moved the bed the other way around just so we have more floor space. I'm testing out not having the rug. The rug is currently up there with my MacBook box, which is now the only box I'm keeping that's sort of tech related. So that's just out of the way whilst I decide upon it. Sorry about that, I'm getting a little bit of a hoarse throat now, we've talking for so long. That is all just there whilst it waits to sell. That will not be there eventually. And obviously if we have our bed here, it means we can only have one side table, but that works out great because then the projector can project across still onto that wall, but we've still got a little bit of space to put our tea on, and I just have to pass it to my partner if I'm sitting at this side. And we sort of can lounge quite nicely with our cushions there whilst we watch the TV over there. And these plants, they're all going, including that table. But I've got nowhere else to put them whilst I wait for them to go. So eventually that'll be gone, all that'll be gone, all that will be gone, and all we will have is this stuff here. So that's the look. Hope you have all enjoyed this video. It's been a little bit of a long one, but I wanted to give you all a full wardrobe tour whilst also discussing what I'm decluttering, why I'm keeping certain things, why that works for me. This now as well to do with the home is like my last little bit of what I'm calling my clutter corner. It's not really clutter, but it's just stuff that I've decided that I don't want to keep, and I'm looking forward to the final view of what the room will look like when these last few things go. And when they have gone, I will probably do a whole walk through home tour for you all again. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later. And let me also say an additional thank you to everybody's lovely comments in last week's video. Bye!